Hey guys, it's Nemo, and today we're having a look at Conan Exiles. Up there is a monstrosity, well, not really a monstrosity. It's big but not that big, not like Shadowversity's castles, which are pretty cool, that I've been working on for probably the last 70 hours of gameplay. As you know, previously in the last video, and I've just whacked this in flying mode. I only just realised I can do this, so we can have a look at the castle. In the previous video I had to get rid of the last castle, which was a big fortress I was building over that side of the river. In fact, it's down there near that maze there. And I couldn't fix the problems with the mouse, so I ended up just getting rid of the game, reinstalling it, and now I've got, so I had to start building the castle again as it's working a bit better, which is good. They put out a new patch in middle of July and sort of fixed a lot of problems. Still are a lot of other problems in Conan Exiles, but the building element, as a carpenter by trade, someone who likes to see building and handiwork done, this has got to be one of the best elements of this game. The building and the survival. It's just great. I love the building stuff. So I started this new castle, called it Montfort Castle, after Montfort Castle in Israel, the old Teutonic headquarters in the Holy Land. And it's a spur castle as well, so this is essentially a spur castle now. Not everything about this castle is going to be great, because, you know, unfortunately, you can't put on crenellations or proper crenellations. You can get some crenellated wall, and you can't put on matriculations either. You know, it's one thing that Shadowversity, if you ever watch his videos about castles, had a little bit of a complaint about that he couldn't do it. He was disappointed that he couldn't, but I agree. But when you think about this game, it's supposed to be a barbarian world, you know, and so for what you are able to use and what you can play in, you can actually make some really civilized looking buildings, and civilized buildings full stop, and it's great. I love it. This is only tier 1 materials except for the pot there. You have to actually get to, I'm level 40 at the moment, and you've got to get some pretty good building skills to be able to build this. Otherwise the gatehouse here will just have nothing. It'll just be a little building with a brick wall so you can shoot down. Now if you have a look at my stairwell and the way that the path runs here, it's actually done historically accurate. I tried to build it as historically accurate as I could, bar the elevators, so that the right hand of the defender is on the outside of the wall, allowing him to swing more, whereas the attacker's right hand would be stuck against the wall, allowing, enabling them only to thrust against the defender, which is an easy move to defend against if you can't variate your attacking swings. So I tried to build it as authentic as I could with the materials that I had. It took a long time. I've got 105 hours of gameplay on Conan Exiles, and I'd say 70 of them was put into building this. Now, I didn't know that you could build in fly mode. I didn't even know what fly mode was until I watched one of, again, Shadowversity's videos on his castles. And I was like, oh, how did he do that? How did he fly around and show us how he did it? You know, because that's a good view. I reckon that view's really good. And I figured it out, and I got into it, and so I was like, okay, I'll do that for the video. But building the castle was built totally by climbing up these lands here and up this hill and putting the castle together, and oh, it took ages, it took forever. And then the slave pen down the bottom here, took even more because it's tier 2 materials and it costs steel and brick and things like that, so you've actually got to cook them up in the furnace, the bricks up in the furnace, and get on with it that way. It's really cool. I like the look of the brick, I reckon it looks cool, but the sandstone up here, I think it matches this area. Now this is down near the very start of the game. This is the river at the beginning. Out there, just beyond there's the desert where you start, and you come up to the river, the broken bridge. And I liked this point because it was quite high, so it actually goes up even higher. I thought about it, oh yeah, I could build a castle up there, and it looks like it's flat up there, and we could have a little village in a wall up there, something like that. And I thought, no, it's a bit too high, it's a bit far away from the river. So the reason I built it here was it's got this high spot that rises up off the spur. You've got heaps of antelope down here in this area, including these greenery here which you can make food with. The antelope you can get hides and food with, I thought was pretty good. And then a whole heap of trees, rocks, crocodiles, shellbacks down there, so there's plenty of food. And the river of course for fish, because you can set fish traps and catch fish. A couple other projects I did, as you can see over there, there's a bridge, and that's so I can drag thralls across, because you can't actually drag the thralls in the water. So I thought, oh, I better build a bridge. So I'm pretty happy with it. I like this little Bailey area. I think is really cool. Sort of reminded me of some of that, like is it Königsberg, I think, in France, in Alsace, how it's built up on the hill and it's got these tiny little walkways and things. It's really cool. I really like that. So we've got a well house here. I'll just get my legs out of the way, sorry about that. In this tower in here is actually a well house, so there's a well in there, and the tanner there couldn't fit inside the artisan's building, so this is where my blacksmith and my furnace and what else is in there, the carpenter, alchemist, so that's full of the workbench where you make furniture, so that's all in there. My tanner's out here in the fresh air. Probably a good idea considering that the byproduct is tar. And then up here is, so the bonfire there on the top is supposed to be like a beacon, and it's really good at night when you light it and you can actually see a fair way, which is good. But the original castle, if you're wondering why the keep is this odd shape, is the original castle was just this hexagonal area here. And that's all it was. It was only 3 stories high. There was nothing else in it. It was just supposed to keep me safe while and then I had a place to venture into the north and other places like that, west, east. What happened was I got to the north and I was maybe level 5 or so, and I died quite a number of times. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm just dying here. So I thought, well, you know what, I'll come back. I've got a tower down near the river. I'll come back to the tower and I'll start leveling up. And then I thought, oh, I'll put a gatehouse in. So I put a little gatehouse in, and I was like, oh, okay, I need something else. So there was this big bastion around here, and it came all the way out here, and I did some testing, and I got one of these wild antelope out here to follow me up, and it tried to attack me. And when it got onto the bastion, I realized that in the game mechanics my castle was going to fail, because I couldn't actually defend it if things could climb up and just jump on your bastion. So I removed the bastion, and this little entrance house here, which also doubles, the second story up here doubles as a barracks house, I pulled it back to there, and I decided I'll put elevators on there. Instead of having a drawbridge or something like that, I'd have it so that no one could really get in. It's the whole idea of a castle anyway, isn't it? To be totally defensible, that the attacker can't get in. And then I thought, oh, the stairs inside the tower look ugly. They just don't work. They make the place look ridiculous. We need to get rid of that. So I did. I built that big tall tower at the end there, and I built it on whatever surface of the stone that I could. And that's why it's got an odd shape to it, but it's got the stairwell up in it which goes up through. So these two windows here, they're part of, you know, like the Great Hall. The next window here, this area is the store, the armory, and the granary. So it's just full of wooden tables with boxes all over it. Just so much stuff. It's crazy how much stuff's in there. There's also an armor in there in this extended bit. There's an armorer helping me out. And if it looks like there's a fire at the end there, coming out that window, it's actually a brazier. You can come in a little bit closer, and I'm not going to go inside. There are some dancing women in there, and this is a family-friendly channel after all. So you can see the brazier there. And then this top here, this one here is the kitchens and the dining hall, and then my room up here. And that's why there's the balcony there for the Lord, you know, the Lord of the Manor, the Lord of the Castle, his room. And then I've got the top, which is, I like the top. I reckon it's pretty cool. If I lived there in real life, I'd put some, you know, an umbrella and a table up there with some chairs and just kick back with a, I would say a beer, but I think in this sort of case out here in this weather would be a cold water. So that's why the tower is an odd shape. So when you are playing Conan and you are building, I actually like the tower in this odd shape. The keep as it is. I like the whole castle the way it is, how it's not square cut. It's not that Norman style castle. It's up on the top where, don't get me wrong, I like Norman style castles. I think they're pretty great. But the way it just follows the landscape, I think is really good. That's what makes a castle unique. So when you are in Conan and you are building, just follow the landscape and you'll build something, you know, that you end up being really happy with. So anyway guys, that's my it was only meant to be a short video of my castle in the last 70 hours of gameplay in Conan. I don't know if I'll have it anymore, because down there in the bottom window you can actually see one of the dancers dancing down there. Because my brother is actually going to come on, and we're going to make our own little clan on. Because the good thing about Conan Exiles is you can get your own server. So get our own server, make our own clan, and one of the problems is that can happen is that if you haven't created a clan before you start building, everything that you have will become just part of the environment. So my castle will belong to all the thralls that are in it. All my hard work of gathering and collecting items and things like that will be totally gone. It'll be a shame to see it go, but you know what, it's okay if it does, because then I can go and build other things. I think, as I said, it's one of the best parts about Conan Exiles is the building part. So, as I was about to say before, that's it. It was supposed to be a short video. Thanks for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.